Hello everyone, I am Dr. Amit Taluja, Assistant Professor in Anesthesia Department, UN Mehta Institute of Cardiology and Research Center. Today I am going to give seminar on cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is also known as CPCR, which means cardiopulmonary cerebral resuscitation. What is cardiac arrest? Cardiac arrest is the cessation of all cardiac mechanical activities. Its clinical diagnosis is confirmed by unresponsiveness, absence of detectable pulse, apnea or gasping breathing. There are 4 types of cardiac arrest rhythms: asystole, pulseless electrical activity, pulseless ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation. Amongst these, pulseless ventricular tachycardia and ventricular fibrillations are amenable to DC shock. We are going to discuss about latest 2020 American Heart Association CPR guidelines. In AHA chains of survival, successful resuscitation following cardiac arrest requires an integrated set of coordinated actions represented by the links in the chain of survival. There were now in chains of survival, recovery is added in 2020 guidelines. In hospital cardiac arrest, early recognition of and prevention, activation of emergency services, high quality CPR, defibrillations, post resuscitative care and recovery. In out hospital cardiac arrest, activation of emergency cardiac services, high quality CPR, defibrillation, advanced resuscitation, post cardiac arrest care and recovery. In AHA guidelines, sequence is CAB sequence. That means compression, airway, breathing. Compression means push hard and fast on the center of the victim's chest. Airway, tilt the victim's head back and lift the chin to open the airway. Breathing, give mouth to mouth rescue breaths. Early chest compressions can immediately circulate oxygen that is still in the bloodstream. So we have changed the sequence from ABC to CAB. Now coming to the sequence of CPR. First of all, you have to assess for the scene safety. That means make sure you, the victim and the bystanders are safe. Response. Check for the response of the patient. Gently shake the shoulders of the patient and ask him, are you alright? If patient is responding, leave him in position in which you found him and assess him regularly. Then open the airway. For opening the airway, place the patient on the in the supine position on the flat surface, hard surface. Place your hand on forehead and gently tilt the head back with your fingertips under the point of the victim's chin. Lift the chin to open the airway. This is the chin lift maneuver. Breathing. Look, listen and feel for the normal breathing. You have to do it for not more than 10 seconds. If you are not sure whether patient is breathing normally, start CPR. Patient is unresponsive. First of all, you have to activate the emergency services. If you have a helper, then ask him to call 108. If you are alone, call yourself 108. Then ask someone to bring the AED. If you are alone, then start CPR without asking someone to call for AED. Start chest compression. Kneel down by the side of the victim. Place your heel of one hand on the center of the victim's chest. Place your heel of the other hand on the top of the first hand. Interlock your fingers and ensure that pressure is not applied over the victim's ribs. Keep your arms straight. Do not apply any pressure over the upper abdomen or lower end of the bony sternum. Position yourself vertically over the victim's chest and press down the sternum approximately 5 cm. After each compression, release all the pressure on the chest to allow complete chest recoil. Repeat at a rate of 100 to 120 per minute. If trained and able, combine chest compression with rescue breaths. After 30 compression, open the airway with head tilt chin lift maneuver. Pinch the soft part of the nose close using index and thumb of the hand which is over the forehead. Allow the mouth to open but maintain chin lift. Take a normal breath and place your lips around the victim's mouth, making sure you have a good seal. Blow steadily into the mouth while watching for the chest to rise. Take it, it is to be done for 1 second as if in normal breathing. This is effective rescue breathing. Then maintaining head tilt, take your mouth away from the victim's mouth and watch for the chest to fall as air comes out. Continue it as in a ratio of 30:2. If untrained and unable to do rescue breathing, do only compression CPR in a rate of 100 to 120 per minute. When AED arrives, as soon as AED arrives, switch on the AED and attach electrode pads on the victim's chest. If you are alone, do it yourself. If you have a other helper, then ask him to do it and you continue with CPR. If after AED is attached, ensure that nobody is touching the patient. AED is analyzing when AED is analyzing the rhythm. Then if AED is shock is advised, then ensure that nobody is touching the victim by chanting the word "all clear." Then push the shock button on the AED. Immediately after delivering the shock, immediately restart CPR in a ratio of 30:2. If shock is not advised, then immediately restart the CPR. Adult BLS algorithm for healthcare providers. Verify scene safety, check for responsiveness, shout for nearby help, activate emergency services, get AED and emergency equipments. Look for breathing and pulse simultaneously, not more than 10 seconds. If patient is having no normal breathing and pulse is felt, provide rescue breathing, 1 breath every 6 seconds, 10 breaths per minute. Check pulse every 2 minutes. If no pulse, then start CPR. If possible, opioid overdose, then if naloxone is available, give naloxone. If pulse is, breathing is normal and pulse is also felt, then monitor until emergency respondents arrive. If no breathing and no pulse, start CPR. Perform CPR in a ratio of 30:2. Use AED as soon as it arrives. If AED arrives, check for the rhythm. If rhythm is shockable, then give shock and continue CPR immediately after giving shock. If rhythm is not shockable, give CPR in a ratio of 30:2 for 2 minutes. Continue until ALS providers arrives or victim starts breathing normally. In adult cardiac arrest algorithm, start CPR, give oxygen, attach monitor or defibrillator, assess for rhythm. If it is shockable, then rhythm is ventricular fibrillation or pulseless ventricular tachycardia, give shock. CPR for 2 minutes, take IV access, or then if check for rhythm is shockable, then give shock. If rhythm is shockable, then give shock, then CPR for 2 minutes, epinephrine every 3 to 5 minutes. Consider advanced airway and capnography. Rhythm is shockable, give shock, CPR for 2 minutes, then amiodarone, consider amiodarone or lidocaine, and treat the reversible causes of cardiac arrest. If rhythm is not shockable, rhythm is asystole or pulseless electrical activity, then consider epinephrine as soon as possible. Then give CPR for 2 minutes, IV or IA access, then epinephrine every 3 to 5 minutes. Consider airway, advanced airway and capnography. If rhythm is shockable, then give shock, or not shockable, then give CPR for 2 minutes. If rhythm is not shockable, then and patient is showing no signs of returns of spontaneous circulation, then give CPR. If patient is showing return of spontaneous circulation, then go to post cardiac arrest care. In CPR quality, push hard at least 2 inches, 5 centimeters and fast 100 to 120 breaths per minute, and allow complete chest recoil. Minimize interruptions in chest compression. Avoid excessive ventilation. Change compressor every 2 minutes. If no advanced airway, then give CPR for in a ratio of 30:2. Check for ETCO2. If it is low or decreasing, reassess CPR quality. shock energy is, if we are using biphasic defibrillator, give 120 to 200 joules shock. If monophasic, then 360 joules of shock. Epinephrine in a dose of 1 milligram every 3 to 5 minutes. Amiodarone, first dose is 300 milligram, second dose is 150 milligram. Lidocaine, first dose is 1 to 1.5 milligram per kilogram, second dose is 0.5 to 7.75 milligram per kilogram. If advanced airway, endotracheal intubation or supraglottic airway devices, then check for by the capnography or capnometry to confirm the ET tube placement. Give one breath every 6 seconds, that means 10 breaths per minute. Return of spontaneous circulation is indicated by return of pulse and blood pressure, abrupt increase in the EtCO2 more than 40 mmHg, spontaneously arterial pressure waveform in intra-arterial monitoring. We have to check for reversible causes of cardiac arrest like it is indicated by 5H and 5T. Hypovolemia, hypoxia, hydrogen acidosis, hypo or hyperkalemia, hypothermia, tension pneumothorax, cardiac tamponade, toxins, pulmonary thrombosis, pulmonary and coronary thrombosis. Adult post cardiac arrest care algorithm. Return of in initial stabilization phase, if there is return of spontaneous circulation, you have to first of all manage the airway. Insert endotracheal tube if it is not inserted. Then manage respiratory parameters such that give breaths 10 breaths per minute. Maintain SpO2 between 92 to 98%, PaCO2 between 35 to 45 mmHg. Manage hemodynamic parameters. Keep systolic blood pressure more than 90 mmHg and mean arterial blood pressure more than 65 mmHg. Obtain 12 lead ECG. Then in a continued management and additional emergent activities, if there is a cardiac intervention is required by ECG, then if STEMI is present, then consider for intervention like PAMI. If even you can check for unstable cardiogenic shock, mechanical ventilator support is required or not. If patient is following commands, then other critical care management. If he is not following command, patient is comatose, then consider targeted temperature management, obtain brain CT scan, EEG monitoring, other critical care management. Evaluate and treat rapidly reversible etiologies and involve expert consultation for continued management. In initial stabilization phase, as we have already discussed, airway management by airway, you have to insert endotracheal tube and check it by capnography or capnometry. Manage respiratory parameters that FiO2, maintain titrate FiO2 to for SpO2 92 to 98% and at 10 breaths per minute. Titrate PaCO2 of 35 to 45 mmHg. Manage hemodynamic parameters by administering crystalloids or vasopressors or ionotropes to maintain systolic blood pressure more than 90 and mean arterial pressure more than 65. In continued management and additional emergent activities, you have to check for if patient is having 12 lead ECG, then consider if there is a cardiac intervention is required or not. If patient is having comatose, then consider targeted temperature management. Begin with 32 to 36 degree Fahrenheit centigrade for 24 hours by using a cooling devices. Other critical care management like continuously monitoring temperature by esophageal, rectal or bladder route, maintain normoxia, normocapnia, euglycemia, provide continuous or intermittent EEG monitoring, provide lung protective ventilation. Approach to multimodal neuroprognostication in adult patient. In first, it is divided in first 24 hours, then 24 to 48 hours, then more than 72 hours, 48 to 72 hours and more than 72 hours. In first temperature 24 hours, you have to maintain targeted temperature management by cooling the patient. You can go for head CT scan. In clinical management, after 24 hours rewarming and limit sedation and analgesia and control normothermia. In imaging, in after 24 hours, you can go for MRI. In electrophysiological study, N20 SSEP studies, burst compression study, burst suppression study, persistent status epilepticus, we can check for clinical examination if patient is having status myoclonus, and you can check for pupillary light reflex, quantitative pupillometry, corneal reflex. In serum biomarkers, you can check for serum NSE levels. You can incorporate diagnostic tests for multimodal prognostication at least 72 hours after normothermia. Some of the important points which are emphasized in 2020 guidelines are: layperson initiate CPR for presumed cardiac arrest because the risk of harm to the patient is low if the patient is not in cardiac arrest. Use arterial blood pressure or EtCO2 to monitor and optimize CPR quality. Establish IV access during for drug administration, IO or IV access if unsuccessful IV access. Cardiac arrest survivors have multimodal rehabilitation, assessment and treatment for physical, neurological, cardiopulmonary and cognitive impairments before discharge from the hospital. We recommend structural assessment for anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress and fatigue for cardiac arrest survivors and their caregivers. Debriefing and referral for follow-up for emotional support for lay rescuers, EMS providers, hospital-based healthcare workers after cardiac arrest event. Now going to discuss cardiac arrest in pregnancy. Maternal, if team planning is very important by collaboration of obstetrician, neonatologist, emergency anesthesiologist, intensivist and cardiac arrest services. Priority is to give good quality CPR and also relief of aortocaval compression with lateral uterine displacement. The goal of perimortem cesarean delivery is very important for maternal and fetal outcomes, good maternal and fetal outcomes. Ideally perform a C-section within 5 minutes depending on the situation. In advanced airway is very important, but it is very difficult in pregnancy, so you have to use the most experienced providers. Provide endotracheal intubation, then perform waveform capnography or capnometry. Give one breath every 6 seconds, 10 breaths per minute. So we have to rule out some of important etiologies of maternal cardiac arrest like anesthetic complications, bleeding, cardiovascular, drugs, embolic, fever, general non-obstetric complications like 5HN, 5T and hypertension. Now coming to the pediatric CPR, we have to give one breath every 2 to 3 seconds, 20 to 30 breaths per minute. Choose cuffed ETT over uncuffed endotracheal tubes. Routine use of record pressure is not recommended now. Administer initial dose of epinephrine within 5 minutes from start of chest compressions. There are two techniques for CPR in a pediatric cases. One is 2-finger compression and other is thumb encircling hand compression technique. For patients with continuous invasive arterial blood pressure monitoring, use diastolic pressure to assess CPR quality. Continuous EEG monitoring is recommended for seizures following cardiac arrest in patients. It is recommended in pediatric cardiac arrest survivors to be evaluated for rehabilitation services. In patient with septic shock, we have to give fluid in 10 ml per kg or 20 ml per kg with frequent reassessment. In infants and children with fluid refractory septic shock, it is reasonable to either give epinephrine or norepinephrine as initial vasoactive agents. Among infants and children with hypotensive hemorrhagic shock following trauma, it is reasonable to give blood products instead of crystalloid or for volume resuscitation. For patients suspecting opioid overdose, it is reasonable to administer intramuscular or intranasal naloxone for pediatric cases. In pediatric in-hospital cardiac arrest and out-hospital cardiac arrest chain of survival, the links are in this also. Recovery is added as a 6th link of chain of survival. Early recognition and prevention, activation of emergency system, high quality CPR, advanced resuscitation, post cardiac arrest care and recovery. This is the algorithm for post pediatric cardiac arrest algorithm. It is same as for adult cardiac arrest algorithm. Some of the changes are: push hard 1/3 of the anterior posterior diameter of the chest and fast 100 to 120 breaths per minute and allow complete chest recoil. minimize interruption in compressions, change compressor every 2 minutes. If no advanced airway, give compression in a ratio from 50 gem 2. If advanced airway is in place, give breaths every 2 to 3 seconds. That means 20 to 30 breaths per minute. Shock energy is, first shock you have to give 2 joules per kg, second and subsequent shocks are 4 joules per kg. You can give maximum 10 joules per kg shock. Drug epinephrine is given in a dose of 0.01 milligram per kilogram, but you have to use concentration of 0.1 ml per kg of 0.1 milligram per ml concentration. Maximum dose is 1 milligram. Repeat every 3 to 5 minutes. If no IV or IO access, you can give endotracheal epinephrine also, but you have to give it is in a dose of 0.1 milligram per kilogram, and concentration is higher, 0.1 ml per kg of 0.1 milligram per ml concentration. In amiodarone, 5 milligram per kilogram bolus is given, and you can repeat it thrice. Lidocaine initial dose is 1 milligram per kilogram loading dose. Advanced airway, cuffed endotracheal intubation or supraglottic airway devices. Wave capnography or capnometry to confirm the ET tube placement. Pediatric bradycardia with pulse algorithm. In this, epinephrine is used and second drug atropine is used. Epinephrine we have already discussed, and atropine is given in a dose of 0.02 milligram per kilogram. May repeat once. Minimum dose is 0.1 milligram and maximum dose is 0.5 milligram. Some of causes of bradycardia are hypothermia, hypoxia and medication. Pediatric tachycardia with pulse algorithm. In that, if patient is having SVT rhythm and patient is having hemodynamic instability, then you have to consider giving synchronized cardioversion. Begin with 0.5 to 1 joule per kg, and you can give up to 2 joules per kg. Sedate if required. If patient is having SVT rhythm and then you can consider, and patient is hemodynamic stable, then you can consider giving adenosine IV or IO route. First dose is 0.1 milligram per kilogram rapid bolus, maximum is 6 milligram. Second dose is 0.2 milligram per kilogram rapid bolus, maximum is 12 milligram. In neonatal resuscitation algorithm. Now coming to the neonate, antenatal counseling and team briefing is very important in this before birth. At the time of birth, you have to check term gestation, good tone, breathing or crying. If crying is normal, then infant stays with the mother for routine care, warmth and to maintain temperature, position, airway, clear secretions if needed, and dry and ongoing assessment. If breathing is not normal, warm and maintain normal temperature, position, airway, clear that secretions if needed, dry and stimulate. Apnea or gasping, heart rate below 100 per minute, then give positive pressure ventilation. Consider ECG monitoring, heart rate below 100 per minute, then check for chest movement, ventilation, corrective steps if needed, endotracheal tube or laryngeal mask airway if needed. If apnea or gasping is not there, heart rate is not less than 100 per minute, patient is having only labored breathing, then consider positive position and clear airway, SpO2 monitoring, supplement oxygen, give CPAP, and if patient is having heart rate more than 100, then post resuscitative care. If patient is having heart rate less than 60 per minute, then consider intubating the patient, chest compression, consider giving 100% oxygen with positive pressure ventilation, ECG monitoring, and even consider inserting umbilical vein catheterization. If even after that heart rate is less than 60 per minute, then consider giving IV epinephrine in the neonates also. There are some points in newborn which are very important. Every birth should be attended by at least one person who can perform and initiate steps of newborn resuscitation and initiate positive pressure ventilation, whose only responsibility is the care of the newborn. Placing healthy newborn infants who do not require resuscitation skin to skin after birth can effective in improving breastfeeding, temperature control and blood glucose stability. For newborns delivered through through meconium stained amniotic fluid who have evidence of airway obstruction, intubation and tracheal suction can be beneficial. For babies requiring vascular access, umbilical vein is recommended route. If IV access is not feasible, it is reasonable to use IO access. Thank you.